So I get asked at least a couple times a week, do you have any small programs? And the answer is no. So the program I offer is 12 weeks long. You get an initial consultation, you have a full functional health analysis for the whole family, and you have weekly check-ins during the entirety of the program. And I want to show you a bit of a case study why this is so important. And this is perhaps a unique case study, but also it may not be. So this is why it's important to do things the way that I'm doing things so that we can do it properly and we can pick up on things. So what you're looking at here is my weekly check-in that every person in every family does to rate how they're going. So we have an initial check-in, and then this family has done 4 weeks. These are the questions they're answering. They don't actually see what their previous answers were each week. They're just putting in new numbers to rate how they're going. So this one that you're looking at is the dad. So he started off with a pretty low rating. We had an initial massive jump in how he was going, and then you can see it's kind of progressing, but slowly. Now, week 3 in this family is an important one to note. So during week 3, they went on holiday and they went to a house that was full of mold. So if we move on to the mum, you can see things are a little bit up and down, but I would say in 4 weeks, she's really not progressing that much. And then if we also look at, this is the oldest child, you can see initial improvement in some of the stuff that we implemented, but otherwise it's just not changing. And again, for the younger child, we initially had, it was a little bit worse, we made some adjustments, it was a little bit better, but again, things aren't changing. Now, if I wasn't doing weekly check-ins, I wouldn't see this. I wouldn't see that things weren't overall improving. Now you can see that, some things are better some weeks and some things are a little bit worse some weeks, but overall, everything is still a struggle. In general, it's still hard work. We're not actually getting anywhere. So the backstory on this family is that I have been working with them on and off for a couple of years with their kids. Up until recently, I always referred out to nutritionists or naturopaths to take care of the supplemental and gut health side of things because it wasn't in my scope at the time to do it. But I have started doing that now with the support of Institute of Health and all of the mentors there. So when this family, they submitted their health blueprint, which has 400 to 600 questions, symptom questions for the kids and for the parents. So it's extremely, extremely comprehensive. I'm not relying on them telling me what symptoms they have and then me kind of expanding and trying to track where those symptoms are coming from. I am asking about every symptom under the sun, even things that you may not think are symptoms. I am assessing for everything, and it's under different categories as well. So I'm checking stomach function, liver function, kidney function, gut microbiome. I'm checking for candida, parasites, mold. I'm checking for everything because there's a lot of things that you may not realize are symptoms that are important to note. So I got my symptoms answers, and the family also submitted blood work for all of them. I started with the dad, and when I was looking at his blood work, I was like, his blood work is kind of showing mold issues. But I've been working with this family on and off for a long time, and I know that they are very conscious of mold issues. So I'd written a note, is dad exposed to mold at work? And then I moved on to the mum's analysis, and as well, mold issues came up in her bloods, and both of them as well had some symptoms as well. And I was like, this is kind of odd because I know they know about mold. Now, I did the analysis for both of the kids. It wasn't as obvious. In fact, it wasn't obvious from their blood work at all that there was mold issues. They did have some symptoms, but it absolutely did not stand out for me that the kids were having mold issues. That came from both the parents. And I didn't say anything to them yet because I wanted to wait until the consultation. But a couple of days later, they sent me some pictures and they said, is this mold? And it was a picture of under their kitchen sink, and all of the cupboards were warped, and then you could sort of see a little bit of mold starting to grow. And I said, I didn't want to say anything yet because I wasn't sure, but mold is coming up in your blood work and your symptoms. So they got on to that straight away. And I've seen mold cases before. Kids don't sleep with mold. They are terrible, terrible sleepers. But at the time when I did the assessment, I didn't think the kids were displaying significant symptoms of mold issues. So in their plan, I did write, if you feel like you need more mold support, do this. But they mostly just focused on the main issues. So then they're going along week after week. Then they go on this holiday where the bathroom is full of mold, and the mum said that she felt like she was going crazy. She felt not good, and all the kids were just kind of off their tree for the whole time that they were there. You can see, this is week 3, where you can see there was a significant drop in how each of the kids were going, and that's because they were staying in mold. And so it suddenly occurred to me that even though they have a little bit of mold in their house and it doesn't appear to be affecting them that much, I definitely think it's affecting them. So I said, you need to start taking this as well. And then they submitted another check-in, and I was like, they're just not changing. They hadn't actually started the supplements that I suggested yet, and they're working on getting the mold removed. So I went to my mentors and I said, can you help me with this case, because they are just not improving. So they took it away, they had a look, they came back, and they basically said the same things that I confirmed, that they needed more mold support. They need support for mold sickness. So that kind of occurred to me. It kind of occurred to me that if I wasn't doing these check-ins, I absolutely would not have picked it up, because I wouldn't have seen just how little they were progressing, because they were having some better weeks, like some things were better some weeks, some things were worse some weeks. Like, just relying on feedback doesn't give me any sort of tangible tracking mechanism. And I also probably wouldn't have picked up on it at all if it wasn't for looking at the parents' blood work and the parents' symptoms. So this is why I have my program the way it is. This is why I don't have a smaller program. I need to be tracking how you are going so that I can see you're actually improving and progressing. Because a lot of the other families, they have beautiful numbers down here that are just going up, 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 up every week. I can see when you're progressing and when you're not progressing and where the problem's coming from. And when I have the assessment and the analysis for everyone in the whole family, some people display symptoms more than others. So even though the mold issues came up in Dad's blood work, he is progressing. So he may not actually be affected by the mold as much as the youngest child is, which is this one. I think she's being significantly affected by the mold. But in looking at the whole family as one, it builds a much greater picture and allows me to really, really see what's going on, so I can create a plan that works and adjust a plan when it's not working. This is why I just have the one program, because this is how we do it properly and thoroughly and systematically in the right order and the right way.